Hello there, welcome back to the Manga Man. As you can see from the name in the title, this is a Black Clover chapter review. There isn't any One Piece this week. It's been delayed by another week, so whenever that comes out, I will review it. This is a review of Black Clover. Spoilers: the official chapter does come out Sunday night or Monday, depending on where you are in the world. When it does come out, I will link that in the relevant places. But without further ado, let's get into this review. So, the most recent chapter of Black Clover. Now, for the most part, what I found as a general theme for this chapter was really it answered a lot of questions that I felt I had. Maybe some of the readers and the community also felt the same. It felt like it answered those questions originally in the first half of the chapter, gave us more information, and then we moved on to the second section, which kind of ended funny for me, and I'll explain why as we go along. So it's really two sections, and the second section is a double header, you could say. So with that being said, first part, he confirms yes, he is devil possessed. However, there is a very definitive difference. Remember from the last chapter I was discussing this, it looked like there was a minion, some type of pet type of character, creature on his shoulder. It is basically that, as obvious as it seemed, it has been confirmed, which makes him distinctly different because he has a direct link to this demon that is take a physical manifestation. Kind of similar to how the four elementals, as we saw with the salamander, when salamander was originally in the possession of Fana. It started off small, it started developing, and it grew. And this might be a similar kind of thing with Sir NACHT. Now the Sir NACHT part was interesting because it kind of made him seem to be subservient to NACHT, calling him Sir, although this could be a ploy, and it may be to do with the age of the demon, and Sir, the formality may be a thing. If you think back in Victorian times, and maybe older times, it was generally accepted to start a conversation to a male with the Sir rather than Oi, or a person's name. So that was interesting. We get his name, Guimero. I couldn't really find anything on the internet about Guimero. The closest thing I got was Gamari or Gameri. But his, in demonology wise, he didn't seem to be an upper demon, though they weren't quite sure where he was positioned. And he had the power of love, so I don't think that really kind of falls into this. Now, thinking about abilities, him using the ability of shadows, is that his own natural ability, or is that the ability of the demon, and does he have his own additional ability? So does he have two grimoires, or is it just the one? I've not been able to tell really. I haven't really been paying close attention to that, but obviously anyone that's noticed could point that out in the description below, the comment section. So yeah, we also found out something as well. So one of the things I noticed on the official translation on Manga Plus was a lot of people were mentioning Diamante and how he would have a fit about the whole situation with this guy's demon possessed as well, and that's clarified very quickly. He basically said, "Look, I visited once. Yami does what he wants anyway. He's made me vice captain, and I've never been back since." And he's like, "Why?" Or because I hate him. We can't really tell whether that's a true hatred or is it one of those. Because there's a lot of this in Black Clover. You'll understand what I mean later on. But there's a lot of sundry moments where they're like, "Oh, I hate this guy." I've been said like, "Oh no, don't like him," or something like that. It's just weird. They're always opposite. It's like teenagers. They can't really reflect their feelings with the words, and they act all annoyed about things. So that was interesting. The fact that he basically tells Asta he's got no talent is a kind of reflection of how everybody initially treats Asta and how he has to win them over through his actions and his determination. And that's how he's always been in this series. So this is no different. So it's kind of a reminder how people initially feel about him. And hopefully he'll win him over as well. He tells them to get some rest. He says you're going to have to rest. We've got somewhere important to go tomorrow. Now, this is essentially the first part of the chapter. The second part of the chapter, which is a double header, is the captain's meeting. We heard about it last chapter. There's a captain's meeting, and as you can imagine, with the Golden Dawn captain not there, basically goes in his stead, and then they have this meeting. The meeting's basically ended, and again, it's that whole Sundara thing. Not one of his rivals or love interests can openly state that they basically want to help him until this chapter. So Jack the Ripper is what you would essentially call a true rival to Yami, because they're both swordsmen, because they're both chads. They're essentially the perfect foil for each other. So they're what you call the perfect rivalry. Charlotte basically acts all tough on the outside, but she's really in love with him on the inside. So that's the whole Suntory thing. And then you've got Nozel, who's basically up his own, and he's pretending to be very pompous, but in reality, he's actually not that bad, and he wants to be the one to beat him, so he's held in high regard. And it's no surprise that it's these three captains that are basically doing all this, because if you think back to when Yami went to fight to help out Aster and Gouch in the cave, these are the same three captains that turned up. It's just that they've had a lot more fleshing out since then, so we get to see more of them. So I like that it's reinforcing that you still got Lil Ball Malti being an idiot and not really in the situation. You've still got the other captain that always falls asleep, and you've still got Fuego basically being a diplomat, but being more aggressive and really flexing his mana powers, especially now that he's got the Salamander. So hopefully that will really reinforce his commanding side, because he's very very general-esque, commander-ish in his behavior, as we saw with the invasion, as we see generally with the way he is. So that was interesting. Then the second heading part is where it really kind of kicks off, and it ends with a cliffhanger. Sorry, I'm just putting my notes down. It's interesting because all the captains are surprised and they look shocking, right? And it's because NACHT makes his presence known. So what this tells you is if he didn't want his presence to be known, he could have been there for a very long time and they wouldn't have noticed him. Or he's very good at sneaking about, which makes sense because he has been in the Spade Kingdom being a spy for the longest periods of time. And he has the audacity to say, listen, can you shut up now, captains? Something important to talk about here. And it ends there, and it's like, where does this guy get the balls? Did he buy him at Costco? But yeah, this is really interesting because in the conversation, they talk about how this guy didn't use his full power, was able to beat captains, and it's a really dangerous thing. Although that is true, there's things to consider with this. First of all, William was beaten because he was protecting the Golden Dawn. He had something that was holding him back, and that's why I felt it's not really a true statement, because he was at 50% or more when he beat him. But when you see Dante fighting against Yami, he had to go way beyond 50 to really clash with that captain. Does he mean Yami is ultimately much stronger than William? Possibly, but the issue with that is we don't know how much William has developed in since the whole elf situation. Has he gained more power since then? Has he become more refined? We don't know. We know Yami has grown, but that also shows that captains, even at that level, have the ability to develop and get stronger. So we don't know that. Also, we don't know, is this a situation where basically the matchups were incorrect, so they weren't perfectly matched up, and styles of magic can ultimately make a big difference if the powers are the same. So that's an interesting thing to think about. Also, we don't know this yet, but could Zenon be stronger than Dante? It hasn't really been made clear. Although Dante seems like the leader, Zenon was disappointed him. Are they equally in strength? It's not really clear. What is clear, that potentially NACHT is stronger than them three. And that's possibly why he's got the gall to say what he's saying, because he looks like he's at that level where he can go beyond 80%. I mentioned this last chapter, I'm going to say it again. It just seems that way because he's got a direct contract, or contact even, with this demon Guimero. And the fact that Guimero is being polite to him, whether this is a deception, I don't know. I don't know how long they've been together. I'm not saying they're dating, but as in how long, you know, he's been possessed. But they seem to get on, and he seems to be subservient to NACHT, which possibly means he might be able to go to 100%. All that remains to be seen. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in the next upcoming chapters. As always, please like, comment, share and subscribe. I will post it up as soon as I can. See you later. Peace.